way is continuing. Welcome to our awards banquet. Glad that you're here for the 54th anniversary of this association. Thank you for that, because that's actually, we should be celebrating it, because CHA has been certifying, providing education for riding instructors, facility managers, trail guides, and really has a huge benefit to the horse industry. CHA has certified over 35,000 individuals. And as your president, I'm really proud to be part of this association. And I'm really proud to be on the podium tonight with my good friend and your president-elect, Kristen Jaworski.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. And we are going to start our evening off having our keynote speech by my friend, Pam Minnick. And you're going to know her very well by the end of the evening, because Pam often says that when she first walked down Exchange Avenue in Fort Worth, Texas, she felt like she was born to live here. And now you all have had that experience, walking down Exchange Avenue and had that same feeling. Because the very first day that I walked into the historic stockyards as trail boss of the Fort Worth Herd Program, Pam was truly one of the most recognized women in the equine world. She's inducted into the National Cowgirl Hall of Fame, the National Cowboy Hall of Fame, the Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame, and former Miss Rodeo America. Not only is she a true calf roper, a barrel racer, a team roper, a rodeo commentator, I could go on and on. She's a rodeo broadcaster and just a TV star. Not only does she have that beautiful career, but she is a star in my life. She is a mentor. She is a dear friend of mine. And her passion and her support for the nonprofit organizations whose mission align with her values, her contributions to this community are just unmatched in the equestrian industry that every one of you support. And each time I find myself needing that emotional or professional support and just advice, Pam's always there to take my call. This afternoon, as soon as we finish that clinic in the Coliseum, first person I talked to, Pam Minnick. And extending to many of you in this audience, her influence and advocacy on our behalf continues to stand strong. And she's the volunteer board president of the Friends of the Fort Worth Herd that supports all those beautiful horses that you all were able to ride today. And she understands how very important safe experiences are through horses to our audience. And as I introduce her today, I am so honored to stand beside her and all that we represent. And I am so proud to introduce my leader and my friend, Pam Minnick.
Thank you, guys. This is kind of intimidating. You know, I've been just in front of a few audiences, but I think that this audience for me is pretty much the most intimidating, because one of the things that you stand for, or that's in your mission statement, is changing lives through horses. And needless to say, my life has been changed through horses. But I wanted to start by something that I think affects each of you as you change lives. And this is a little, I don't even know where I picked this up, but it's called Don't. Don't you dare tell her that her dreams are too big. Don't tell her that she's too young or too small for such things. Don't put fears on her plate just because you're not hungry anymore. Don't say can't to her face or even use it in your vocabulary. Don't educate her about nerves in front of a crowd. Don't train her to bow down. Don't show her excuses or why not on a list of the odds. Don't let her smell fear on your breath when you speak of her plans. Don't let her realize that there is a thief called self-doubt. Don't bring out the measuring tape when the competition comes near. Don't let her see disappointment or find pity when she makes a mistake. Don't let her think she's alone by not teaching God's word, for He made her fierce as a lion and gave her a champion's heart. He blessed her with gifts of fearlessness and a strong work ethic. He put it in her DNA to pursue goals just out of her reach. He colored her eyes focused and prepared her hands to conquer whatever battle she chooses. And as a daughter of the sun, she will be a strong warrior, for she will never be alone. He will send his angels down to guard her, for cowgirls are sometimes too courageous. And he will mount her on a fast horse so she can chase down those dreams. I found that to be something that I think that you guys do all the time, and that is to help people achieve their dreams. So I wanted to start with that. So my presentation is called The Horses That Built Me. One thing I am really proud of is that a few years ago I was selected as Western Horseman of the Year, and so far I'm the only woman that has received that, although there's some ladies in this room that certainly will be candidates for that, I'm sure. A few of the networks that I've worked for. A world champion roper, although this is healing, I'm a world champion breakaway calf roper. I also ran barrels professionally, tried to make the national finals, but that was just out of my reach. But I was the first and only woman to win the Rookie of the Year in the Nevada Cowboys Association. And I became the first woman to announce a professional rodeo, and not just any professional rodeo, but as you can see, the Astrodome is behind me there, and nothing's more intimidating than having the microphone with Bob Tallman and 60,000 people watching you. My Western Horseman of the Year award. But this is something, and I think that that's why that spoke to me so much about saying don't and can't, is because my mother raised me that way. My mother and father never rode a horse till the day that they both have passed. My stepfather just turned 98, so he's certainly had some longevity, but neither my mother, my father, nor my stepfather ever rode a horse. But my mom believed that anything you could do, if you set your mind to it, you could. And she said, can't. I will not allow you to use this word in my house. And I think that that was something that has helped me throughout my life. And that's my mom teaching me to take my first steps, I guess. So my first horse was Rebel. As I said, my mother and father didn't have horses or even know about horses. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, which now is such an equine capital with the National Finals Rodeo and all the big cuttings and other equestrian events out there. But at the time, there wasn't much around Las Vegas. But we did live out in the country with 5 acres of just pure desert. And it didn't even have a fence around it at the time. And there, you know how there's all those themed casinos there? Well, they were building a casino called Vegas World, which never happened, but they had a team of Palomino horses pulling a wagon up and down the strip, advertising Vegas World will be opening soon. Well, it never got off the ground, but my mother had made friends with these people that had these horses, and so she bought them when we always said we wanted a horse, but you know, we never dreamed that we would ever be able to. But she bought these 2 horses for $300, and their names were Rebel and Rio. And at the time, and we didn't know the difference, they were only trained to pull this wagon. So. But Rebel became my first horse, and as you will see when we get through there, I joined 4-H quickly because somebody had to teach me something. For the first 6 months we had our horses, we didn't even have a saddle. And then my aunt gave us a saddle, so my sister and I shared it until then she got a saddle too. So that's Rebel and Rio, and that's my sister and myself. And behind me is my stepdad, who is, like I said, 98. He had a Ford Falcon at the time, and he traded it in for a pickup. He didn't know what he was getting into. You are the author of your own life story, and each of us know that, and the people whose lives you affect, and hopefully you pass on that as well. So then I had another Palomino. It just seems like Palominos have been kind of a theme because when you're blonde, but I don't care what color a horse is if they do the job. But this is high school rodeo, and you'll see that's the Stardust Hotel in the background. Growing up in Las Vegas, the arenas were right there off the strip at the time, and still are for the most part. I entered my first rodeo queen pageant, and I didn't win. In fact, I entered a few more after that. Then eventually I did. But one of the things that I look back at, and this will be a theme throughout this presentation, is that the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. If you can dream it, you can do it. Walt Disney said, always remember, this whole thing started with a mouse. So these are a few of the trophies that I won on Rebel. As I mentioned, when I got him, he was just trained to pull a wagon, and in 4-H at the time, there were 4 speed events and 4 horsemanship events. And at the end of the year, I won the high point in all 8 events on that one horse. And a lot of the girls and boys that I competed with had 1 horse for horsemanship and 1 for the speed events. And I didn't know the difference, and I only had 1 horse, so there it was. But I always like this saying as well: carry yourself like a champion now, so when you get there, it's not a surprise. And I think a lot of you that are achievers probably know it's Zig Ziglar, but you're born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and most importantly, expect to win. And I won Miss Rodeo America. My dentist told me I needed a crown. I said, I know, right? I believe this, and I think Kristen will affirm this. Be the woman who fixes another woman's crown without telling the world that it was crooked. And that's one thing that I really strive for, and I know that Kristen and I share that belief, is that, you know, there's enough room for all of us, and give somebody a leg up. And each of you do, and I know that that's how you get through life as well. So shortly after I was Miss Rodeo America, the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association called me, and there was this thing called television. It was mostly black and white at the time, but they called us and said, we're doing a live TV show in Chandler, Arizona, and it's the Wrigley's Big Red Rodeo, and it was live on CBS. And can you be the sideline reporter? I had absolutely no experience there. One of the things I might have skipped is that I went from being Miss Rodeo America at 19 to never going to college and ending up being in broadcasting with no formal training other than the ability to speak and communicate and to ask genuine questions and know a little bit about what I was talking about. But this happens to be at the National Finals Rodeo interviewing Roy Cooper with his young son, who is now probably 50, so that tells you how old I am. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. Then in 1982, I think it is, another guy kind of stumbled into his role. Eddie Rabbit was supposed to play at the Houston Livestock Show, and he got sick, and there was a guy that had a local band, and his name was George Strait. Well, that's how George played his first Houston Astrodome. You can Google that, and you'll see that story is true. And he and I hosted a show that year called Texas Houston Style, and told everything about what was going on there. Don't we both look just the same? He does anyway. Shortly thereafter, I got the position at the Nashville Network, and one of the great things about TNN at the time, back in the 80s, you know, we didn't have 5,000 channels. TNN was on your basic cable, and every Sunday night you could count on watching either Mesquite Rodeo or the Professional Bull Riders Tour or something on TNN, and I think that truly helped. I know the Professional Bull Riders Tour and even the PRCA will tell you that helped formulate audiences from coast to coast. In fact, there was a guy, if any of you watched Mesquite Rodeo back in those days, there was a guy that rode named Robbie Vaquero. Does anybody remember that name, Robbie Vaquero? Well, he was a bareback rider who never covered a horse. But he always was the best interview because I think all week long he practiced what he was going to say if he got a chance to be interviewed. And, you know, like one time I went over to him and my director sang in my ear because he got hung up over the rigging on his bareback horse and the horse was just spinning. And he goes, I bet you can't interview him now because he's got to be humiliated. And I went over and I said, Robbie, tell me about that ride. He said, I felt like a human weed eater. A diamond is a chunk of coal that did well under pressure, and don't we all feel that way sometime? Obviously, Reba is a great horsewoman, and she actually was a barrel racer, and I happened to win the barrel race at that celebrity rodeo that we went to, and she got to present me with the trophy. Obviously, Mesquite Rodeo there. You can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing and do them so well that people can't take their eyes off of you. You'll see that as a common theme. This is Larry Mahan, Bob Tallman, a couple of guys I've worked with, Tough Hedeman, doing the Professional Bull Riders Tour. Again, something similar, saying, find something you love to do so much that you would do it for free, and then do it so well that people want to pay you. And I think each of you probably have found that niche as well. Ty Murray, Adriana Marias. It's impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well have not lived at all, in which case you fail by default. So don't be afraid to enter. This is another Palomino I had. This is JC, a horse that I ran in the I guess 70s barrel racing. And then after I moved here to Texas, I really started team roping more than barrel racing. I call her Sassy too. I actually had 3 horses named Sassy. Smokin' Sassy Sue, Miss Sassy Trip, and what was my latest Sassy? Oh, Sassy Little Pepto. An arrow can only be shot by pulling it backwards. So when life is dragging you back with difficulties, it means it's going to launch you into something great. So just focus and keep aiming. This is a horse that I just retired not long ago. Her name is Lucky. And Lucky's a super duper heel horse. Funny story about Lucky, she's not registered. I think there's some more pictures of Lucky. I bought her for $1,800. And the first week that I had her, I took her to a roping and went $2,200. So I wonder, she's paid away. I have to go back to this. Everyone falls down. Getting back up is how you learn to walk. This is a great story, saying that I found from Bill Gates. Paul and I, we never thought that we could make that much money out of the thing. We just loved writing software. So again, if you love it, you never know where it's going to take you. Lyle Lovett, that's right here at the Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame. And then Steve Jobs said, your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. Are you feeling a common theme here? That's right here at Billy Bob's Ringo Starr. Funny story in the background, you'll see his trunk back there with the star on it. And when I walked in with the shirt that I had on, he said, oh my, would you like to see my collection of, I'm trying to do my best British accent, of vintage Western shirts? That whole trunk was full of vintage Western shirts. I thought that was fascinating. And that's my handsome husband there on the left. He was a national finals bull rider. That's here on the stage at Billy Bob's, presenting Garth Brooks with a check for his charity. He did his Beyond the Seasons launch here for his Christmas special, and so he was doing it for Feed the Children. That's right here on the stage as well, presenting Tim McGraw with his very first gold record. In fact, when we first booked Tim McGraw, his song Indian Outlaw had just come out. It hadn't even gotten much airplay yet. By the time he played here, this place was packed. Worrying is like sitting in a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it doesn't get you anywhere. I thought I'd throw that one in. Another picture with George Strait. That's at his arena down in Boerne, Texas. And with Reba. I can take on the world, but first, I'll need some lipstick. Jody knows that. Just before I walked up here, I was putting on my lipstick. That's backstage here interviewing Miranda, who just got inducted last week into the National Cowgirl Hall of Fame. And those of you that know Miranda or know of her, she is actually a very good equestrian. She has gypsies, and she shows both English and Western and at halter, and so a very deserving honoree at the Cowgirl Museum now. That was with Randy, I forgot his name, yeah. Just before he had his stroke, and so I was interviewing him, like, Randy, what's his last name? I can't remember. Randy Travis. Yes, Randy Travis. This was miking up Merle Haggard to interview him, and so my life has been a series of doing things that I love that I just happen to get paid for. So, that's why it's this common theme. I know I'm supposed to let Jesus take the wheel, but sometimes I think we off-road. Have you felt that way? One of the things that I love is doing things, as Kristen mentioned, I'm the president of Friends of the Fort Worth Herd, which is a charity. I sit on 12, well no, actually I've added 2 more. I sit on 14 boards of nonprofit organizations, so it keeps me busy, but it's my way of giving back. And This happened to be a Make-A-Wish Foundation event that I chaired, and it was right here on the stage at Billy Bob's. When you can make anything, make a difference. So in 2011, the Fort Worth, Dallas area, we prefer to call it FWD rather than DFW. The Fort Worth, Dallas area was proud to host the Super Bowl, and I was part of that small committee that brought the Super Bowl and raised the funds to have the Super Bowl here in North Texas. So it was a nice little group, and it was a big deal for our community, and I felt really good about it. And after they asked us to be on the committee, then they told each of us that we had to at least raise $1 million. It was like, if you'd have told me that first, I might have just said no, but we got it done. Another Western Wishes little girl that visited the stockyards here. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I think that you guys do that all the time. In fact, Kristen shared a story with me today. I'm not sure who it was in this audience, but somebody made Kristen feel really, really good, and I think vice versa with her experience today on horseback. But, you know, they'll forget a lot of things, but you'll never forget how you make someone feel. So I was presented Great Woman of Texas in 2006. I don't know what the criteria is, but it was really fun to have that billboard out on I-30 until one day that I got stopped by a policeman for speeding along I-30, and I happened to be in the vicinity. And as he's writing me the ticket, I pointed up the billboard, and he didn't even bat an eye, so got me nowhere. This is with our former First Lady of Texas, Mrs. Perry and Pat Green, as we were kicking off a tourism week here in Fort Worth. Lift as you climb in your career. This is what I was talking about earlier. There is more than enough room at the top. So Aaron Watson is a young man, a Texas music artist, and he's actually branched out nationally. And when he was first breaking into his career, he read a book by this gentleman, Ron Hall, that he wrote that's called Same Kind of Different as Me. And I don't know if any of you have read that book, but it's a New York Times bestseller. It's about our Presbyterian night shelter here in Fort Worth. And Aaron had read that book, and he called me and he goes, when I do my concert at Billy Bob's, he said, I want it to raise money for the homeless in Fort Worth. And then he told me his experience with reading that book. So I called the mayor, and I had the mayor do a proclamation having an Aaron Watson Day in Fort Worth the night that he played. And then I surprised him by bringing the author here that night to present that proclamation. And he was so surprised because he loved that book. And I recommend that you read it if any of you are readers. It's called Same Kind of Different as Me, and you'll really enjoy it. But it was really kind of fun putting that together because that was a surprise for Aaron, and Ron did say that it was up past his bedtime, though. Some of the ladies here in Fort Worth that make a difference are former mayor and still Representative Kay Granger and some other ladies. Stop trying to make everyone happy. You're not tequila. Got it? Every New Year's Day, I happen to be so privileged as to host the Tournament of Roses Parade on RFD TV and the Cowboy Channel. It takes a lot of preparation to learn about 30 equestrian groups. That takes less preparation because I know about those. But there's about 25 marching bands and 60 floats, and we're supposed to know every flower on every float. But it's really a lot of fun. This year, I'll be doing it again with Christina Loren, but I've had several co-hosts throughout the last 13 years I've been doing the Tournament of Roses Parade. And always a staple at the Tournament of Roses is Carson Kressley, who rides saddlebreds, you may not know that, and is an excellent rider. No matter how you feel, get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. Most recently, in 2012, Patrick Gotch called me from RFD TV and said, can you produce a series about draft horses? I said yes. I had no idea there was such a difference between draft horses and light horses, but I got a quick education. The first thing I learned is that you do not call them reins, you call them lines. Stuck with me. So I've had a lot of fun over the past, oh gosh, what's that been, 8 or 9 years with Gentle Giants. In fact, Anne came to hello Anne, came to a seminar we had at RFD TV, the ranch, a little draft horse seminar that the folks from express Clydesdales and express Percherons put on, and I've learned a lot. This happened to be in a celebrity driving competition, and I beat Dr. Paul. Just want you to know that. This is riding there, and where we were at, riding at Clydesdale. It's hard to be a woman. You must think like a man, act like a lady, look like a young girl, and work like a horse. So Katie Kaufman is my co-host on Gentle Giants. People ask me all the time, what's your favorite draft horse? And I'm trying not to show partiality, but I do love Belgians, and maybe it's because they're blonde. This is, again, driving the Express Clydesdales. Anne was there when I snapped. You might have even snapped that picture, I'm not sure. This is a Warren Buffett quote, and I hope it doesn't offend anyone, but I found it funny. There comes a time when you ought to start doing what you want. Take a job that you love. You'll jump out of bed in the morning. I think you're out of your mind if you keep taking jobs that you don't like just because you think it looks good on your resume. Isn't that a little like saving up for sex in your old age? This is my husband, Billy, here at Billy Bob's. Those are two of our dogs that are dearly departed now, Fanny and Stony. We're both inducted into the Texas Trail of Fame, and as you've been through the stockyards, I hope that you've had an opportunity to follow that Trail of Fame and see the fun people that we honor that make a difference here in our state and makes Texas and this Fort Worth stockyards what it is. Have you guys had a good time in the stockyards? I hope you felt welcome here, but it isn't just how we're not just putting on an act. This is how people are all the time here in the stockyards. In fact, somebody was complimenting Kristen and I in our apparel, and I said, this is what we wear every day. We really don't know anything else, which is really kind of cool, except for when Kristen and I go somewhere and people go, I love your costume. Like, no, that's pretty much what we wear. This is where we live in Argyle. It's a really pretty area, about 30, 40 miles north of here, with real good sandy loam and some nice oak trees, and we really love that area. So 3 years ago, my husband went to we have a really fun neighbor that we're so proud of. His name is Bill Kasner, and he won the Kentucky Derby in 2010. But he and his wife Susan are very, very dear friends. And Bill is kind of, I call him a collector. He not only loves his thoroughbreds, his racehorses, and they have a beautiful farm there in Versailles, but they also have a really nice place in Flower Mound where he only keeps 40 head horses. 40 head horses. So he's quite a collector, I call him. And he decided he was going to the Fort Worth Stock Show ranch horse sale 3 years ago. He had a particular horse in mind, and he came by the house and picked up Billy, and he says, why don't you go with me? Well, Bill bid on this horse and bid on this horse, and anyway, he didn't buy one. Well, then this little, he's a smart like juice. His name is Smarty. Smarty comes in the ring, and Billy had seen him earlier with a little, like, 4-year-old riding him, and Billy's like, what could go wrong? My wife could have a horse that a 4-year-old could ride. Thanks, honey. Anyway, so I'm at the movies with our granddaughter, and Bill Katzner texts me a picture of Billy standing by this horse. He goes, look what your husband bought you. And I thought he was joking until I got home that night. Sure enough, Smarty was in the barn. Well, Smarty was in the ranch horse competition and obviously in the sale. And Billy bought him for me to be a heel horse because roping is what I love to do. And then I have a friend that works for Western Horseman named Lizzie Iverson, and Lizzie started going to these ranch horse competitions, and like where they have to do a reining pattern, work the cow, rope the cow, all this stuff. She goes, I think you and Smarty would like to do that. I think Smarty would be really good at that. And he is, and he was, and he could probably do better without me on him, frankly. But then that was a little complicated and a little bit intimidating to me going down the fence because my horse was better at it than I was. But I found ranch riding, and I really started liking that. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. And that's what I've done with Smarty. So Smarty is very cute. I call him Fabio. He's like the Fabio of horses. And who was it that Billy Smith complaining about your wife's horse's mane? Take a look at this. So anyway, so I decided that we're going to start ranch riding. And there's nothing harder than sitting a stop when for the last 55 or 60 years, all you've done is be up over the front of your horse, team roping and barrel racing. This is a work in progress, and it's really, really hard. My butt doesn't understand, but it's getting there. So anyway, we practiced this last year because with COVID, what else was there to do? And then at the, well, so this is a really good one. Why should you continue going after your dreams? Because seeing the look on the faces of the people who said you couldn't will be priceless. So last year, the AQHA World Show, there was no qualification because of COVID. So I entered because anybody could, and I walked away with a Reserve World Championship in my very first horse show. Woohoo! If you can dream it, you can do it. Anyway, so that was pretty much fun, and so now I have a really pretty AQHA trophy, and nobody was more surprised than I was, because I didn't know at the time. I mean, literally, this was my first. I went to a SHOT Show in Sweetwater in August, and then I went to the World Show. So I didn't know they had Horse Tracker and you could track your score. So I had no idea. I was like 10th to go and there was 42 in the class. And so then they were going to bring everybody in the arena, and my coach, Heather, says, you just stick around here. I want you're going to have to go in the arena. I said, you think? You know, because you don't know what you look like to the outside world. And I found that out, that you don't know what you look like to a judge or to even anybody else. Stopwatch with barrel racing and team roping, easy. It's timed event, but this, crazy. Anyway, they keep calling down people, and I had seen some of these runs, and I was like, oh my God. Well, anyway, they got to 3, and I was like, well, I know I'm not 1, so I was pretty happy with 2. No matter how much or how little formal education you have, no matter what the color of your skin, and no matter how much money you have or don't have, being successful comes down to hard work, cultivating relationships, and having a positive mental attitude. You are what you think you are. So anyway, then this year, I had these big dreams, and I went to a couple of shows at the beginning of the year, not knowing if we were going to have to qualify this year for the World Show, because now I'm thinking they can't have this show without me. So I entered, so Smarty comes up lame. And I had already entered the Versatility Ranch Horse Finals, which was in Guthrie. And you can't draw out, but you can substitute, as long as it fits the criteria. Well, this is a horse that Bill Katzner, my friend, bought the following year at the ranch horse sale. He went and bought this horse that came from the Stewart Ranch, and he sent him to Slick Robinson to train for a team roping horse, and he ended up winning 7th out of 154 horses in the heading fraternity. And then Bill got him home, and he was like, I've got 40 horses, I really don't need him. So we bought Champ from him. And he calls him Champ because he was the reserve champion at the stock show ranch horse competition. So anyway, so I substituted Champ. He had never been through any of the ranch riding patterns. And we go to the VRH World Show, and we ended up 3rd. So that was pretty cool with Champ. So now I've hammered on him all this year, and since July, and just practicing our transitions and trying to get better and better and better and better. Went to the World Show, and this slide is intentionally left blank because I left it here thinking that when I came home and finished this presentation that I would have something really, really great to share with you, that maybe we did well at the World Show. However, I unloaded him out of the trailer on Friday and could tell he wasn't feeling good. Long story short, he is at Oak Ridge Equine, where he is in recovery from colic surgery. So that's why this is intentionally left blank. And I tell you this because, just like with the horses, with other things that are going on in your life, and I know that a lot of times, especially Kristen and I talk about the people that you have that are working with you and working for you, you never know what's going on back inside if they're having a bad day or if they're a little bit emotional, you never know. I mean, they might have a horse in colic surgery, so that slide is intentionally left blank. And I will close with this from Mother Teresa, because this affects each of you who are educators in your certified horsemanship. You will teach them to fly, but they will not fly your flight. You will teach them to dream, but they will not dream your dream. You will teach them to live, but they will not live your life. Nevertheless, in every flight, in every life, in every dream, the print of the way you taught them will remain.
Wow, thank you so much, Pam. A lot of things to think about, a lot of things to take home and share with others. And congratulations with your successes and the best of luck with Champ getting better. We would like to take a moment to thank all of our partners that work with us. Equisure, American Quarter Horse Association, the American Paint Horse Association, the Arabian Horse Association, the Appaloosa Horse Club, Interscholastic Equestrian Association, Path International, the Equine Network, Troxel, and Redmond Equine. We really appreciate their support, their willingness to partner with us to help share the visions and the missions of all of the associations as we can move forward to help the industry. At this time, I'd like to invite Wendy Lindsay from Redmond Equine, who is our CHA International Conference speaker for tonight, to come and say a few words. Here she comes. I saw you earlier.
Wow, what an honor, and nothing like following up Pam Minnick with her wonderful talk. I just want to say what an honor it has been to be here with you, and I think it was Christy Landwehr that contacted us, talked to Mike Mumford, and said this might be a great fit for you. And many of you did talk to Mike Mumford yesterday and maybe on Monday. He's the very nice, handsome man with the English accent. And he called me yesterday. He said, Wendy, we're making the best connections here. This is amazing. And that's what it's all about. I've come today to take his place, but it's about the connections. We've connected with some amazing people and instructors, trainers. You're connecting with people to make that connection with their horse. And we've had so many people call us and tell us, I finally found my heart horse. I've made that connection. And that's only possible through people like you who train them to make that connection. And we hope to be able to help in this industry and give back to you, support, and anything that you might need to help that connection form for horse and rider. That's a special thing. Not many people can have that blessing. So I just want to say thank you for letting us be a part of this. This is a wonderful, great connection that we have with you. So thank you.
Thanks, Wendy, and pass on to Mike our thanks as well. Certainly enjoyed being able to visit with the both of you here at the convention. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Fort Worth Herd and Start T Ranch for providing the wonderful horses that we've had today and that we're going to have tomorrow. Those horses were really something. They did a lot of things. And for those of you who got the ride, it's sure a lot easier to ride nice horses.
Thank you, Bob. At this time, we would like all CHA certifiers, CHA site visitors to stand and be recognized, as well as CHA program members that are host sites for our skills workshop and certifications. Without your dedication to safety, CHA would not be able to do what we do best, accredit equine facilities and certified equine professionals. Great job. Thanks, team. Next, with those that are accredited CHA sites, please stand and be recognized. And thank you for taking the extra effort to get the gold seal of approval on your equine facility and programs. And please take the time to come up and please take a photo by the logo backdrop. We'd also like to thank each one of our regional directors, state and provincial representatives, Your volunteer efforts at the grassroots level is just so valuable. And may you please come forward for your group photo at this time, please. Please stand.
But now we will get down to the part of the awards banquet, and to be able to recognize those among us that have contributed a great deal in this past year. First up is our CHA Volunteer of the Year. You know, if we didn't have dedicated volunteers at CHA, it'd be really hard to get things done and the needed work to help all of our members. Remember, we change lives through safe experiences with horses. The CHA Volunteer of the Year recipient has had this said: she is so responsive to the emails and calls, really cares about CHA and wanting to see it grow. She created a newsletter that she sent out to all CHA members in her state when she was a state representative. And now that she is a regional director, is doing a newsletter for her entire region. She loves taking photos and recently visited a CHA host site near her to take photos and see how this host site in action. She asks questions and figures out solutions to help CHA members navigate CHA as a newly certified instructor or a host site. She has been a CHA certified member as an English Western instructor since 2015. She has been involved in the CHA booth at Equine Affair in Springfield, Massachusetts for a while now, and is leaving straight from here to go volunteer there this year. A big thank you and congratulations to our CHA 2021 Volunteer of the Year, Christine Micah from Colchester, Connecticut. That's it, clear path for her.
I'd like to say thank you to everybody at CHA who has made me feel so welcome, especially here at this conference. Everyone is so kind, so nice, and so wonderful to me and my husband. I'd like to say thank you to my husband, who actually does the photography for my newsletter. He does a great job. He's the one with the camera back there, so he's a terrific guy. And I'd also like to thank Christy and Terry, who have had to put up with a lot of questions and all sorts of kinds of nonsense from me to get out what I think is a pretty good start to growing Region 6. Thank you so much.
And for any of you that have ever tackled a newsletter, that is a huge undertaking. Thank you, Christine, and congratulations.
So wonderful. So for so many years, CHA has recognized an outstanding individual or organization that has helped not only CHA, but also the equine community at large to promote safety and awareness. And this is our Partner in Safety Award. This group has had this said about them: this association has been a partner with CHA for so many years. They work with us to have our members become professional horsemen. For them, and they are so good about supporting our magazine, The Instructor, and our international conference program with ads. We are currently developing a plan to utilize their Horse IQ program for our certifiers and site visitors to be able to do their recertification test online. This group cares about the welfare of the horse and the safety of riders and handlers. We have a showmanship video that one of their staff members did for us at a past CHA conference. And it was a pleasure to have their CEO speak at our annual meeting this year. We are also working together on a possible amateur rule change in the future that will help the entire horse industry. They were a CHA conference partner this year, helping shuttle our members to and from the hotel to the Cowtown Coliseum, and how many of you tonight used it to get here to Billy Bob's, Texas, and offering a free conference room at their beautiful offices in Mule Alley for our board meeting, and then offer a discount for their store products for our conference attendees this year. Not only do their headquarters opened here in the historic Fort Worth Stockyards, in the beautiful renovated horse and mule barns that were originally built in 1912, but the association and their members then offered an opportunity to invite visitors to enjoy the paint horse experiences, and we quickly welcomed them. Mule Alley was once home to horses and mules in the historic district for so many years, and now we're able to call it home to the iconic legacy of those colored bronze statues, and hopefully every single one of you has taken the opportunity to walk down Mule Alley, and I know you took a selfie for Instagram. All over the world, people will be able to see that beautiful artwork. So they joined the Stockyards family, and the association's executive director and chief marketing officer then were selected, actually handpicked by the Fort Worth herd, as honorary drovers for the Fort Worth herd, and on paint horses, of course. Their truly favorite part is the period correct outfit. And they offer their assistance to our program when we need an extra hand, driving cattle along East Exchange Avenue, but then provide any kind of resource that we need and knowledge to our program anytime an opportunity presents itself. I am truly forever grateful to have that partnership as well, because they understand program safety. Please help me in congratulating and thanking our 2021 CHA Partner in Safety, the American Paint Horse Association.
Let me just thank all of you for being here and for coming through our office, but I also want to give each of you a very special thank you. Personally, I have a wife who has struggled with multiple sclerosis much of her life, and she has benefited dramatically from some assistance from an equestrian group that helps, that has certified horsemanship riders and teachers. She's benefited dramatically from that. I also have a son who had spent 5 years in special forces, was involved in many combat operations in Afghanistan and Syria and North Africa. And he has benefited dramatically from some of the services offered by various groups, of many of which y'all are directly involved in, that help veterans. So I have a personal vested interest in some of the activities that you are involved in, and you are always welcome guests at APHA. Thank you.
Thank you, Billy, and congratulations to APHA. You know, we do get to recognize people and organizations that really do make a difference to the horse industry. But you know, what does it come down to? And the one part that always gets me is, what about the horses? Those horses, those incredible critters we all have a great passion for. Personally, when I've been asked in the past about my involvement with the horses, I always tell everybody, my son is a geneticist, and I've been tested, so I'm homozygous for the horse gene. And it is expressed in many ways. But I think we do have to recognize those horses. They are the unsung heroes of what we do. It's pretty hard to teach riding. I know you can teach vaulting on that barrel thing. I get that. But it's probably a lot more fun if it's going in a circle. And so this award is a recognition of a horse that has gone above and beyond, connected to lives, and really made a difference. So we're going to start with the top 5 finalists for 2021. Ghost from Rusty Bar Ranch in Washington. Okie from the Girl Scouts of San Jacinto in Texas. Radish from the Star T Ranch in Texas, some school horse providers. I think Radish got some time off this week. Right? Sapphire from Warren Beach Camp in Washington. and Zach from Potter's Ranch in Kentucky. Congratulations on the top finalists. And while I didn't get to do it this year, I have in past had the tremendous opportunity of reading the nominations. And some of those children and adults that expressed their thanks to the horse is really quite touching. Thank you. A little bit about the winner. It's been said he's a staple in our program. Been there since 2008. Before being donated to us, he was a high school rodeo horse. But he calmly took to the trails for the first-time riders, became the right amount of stubborn for the older riders. Those are really valuable talents. Would accept any task you put in front of him. Western, of course, he would teach you quick stops and pivots. English, without a doubt, he would trot and cantaloupe poles with the rest of them. Just a bareback ride? Perfect. He's not too tall in case you slip off. This sounds like my kind of horse. As our special guy has gotten older, his workload is lightened. Unfortunately, there was an accident in March of 2020 when we thought it was the end. He slipped when heading up to the pasture and was unable to walk. Our vet gave him 24 hours, either to start improving or we would have to make the very, very hard decision. A day later, he acted as if nothing had happened. It was officially retirement for our sweet old man, which meant nothing more than getting loved on by everyone.
Bob, you could go ahead and grab your handkerchief. Let me continue for you. He spent the next year continuing to teach others how to groom, lead, and care for a horse. That's when we spotted him galloping in the field. He was feeling so good, we checked with our vet again and decided to try him back in some light work. And this old man perked up, and he was so thrilled to be on the occasional trail ride for our littlest riders this past summer that his 13 years with the Girl Scouts, he has served over 50,000 girls. This horse has done it all. Lessons, trail rides, grooming, painting, flag ceremonies, and even been a unicorn a few too many times. Hello, yes, that's wonderful. 10,000 hours in something makes you an expert. We can agree with that. I would say he is far beyond that. And having a horse like him should be essential for any program, and he will be irreplaceable when he is gone. What our Girl Scouts have to say about him is that we used to have a day during the week where special needs kids came and did love, hug, and groom. I volunteered several times, and Okie was a saint. Nothing scared him. Walkers, crutches, wheelchairs were all no big deal. The kids loved him. Okie is an inspiration to us all. He is the most loving, caring, and reliable horse in the world. He is amazingly good with troop riders, makes them feel comfortable when they are just learning to ride, and he is everyone's best friend for a reason. And out of our barn of 40 horses, he's the horse, when you say his name, everyone's heart just melts. And they are remembering their special moments with him. Not only that, but the host site where our winner hails from is the CHA program member since 1989 and has hosted 25 CHA certifications, 17 seasonals, 8 English Western instructors. One 34-year-old flea-bitten gray quarter horse gelding is the 2021 CHA Horse of the Year, voted from the Girl Scouts of San Jacinto, and he's from Texas. Congratulations. So special. I've got chills.
I didn't get chills, I just got tears.
So it was pretty self-explanatory. Okie is our old man, and everybody loves him. Sweetest, sweetest horse. And we've said multiple times we would love to clone him. You just never know when you're going to get an Okie in your life, and he's truly one of a kind horse. And like we said, he was a donation. So we get so lucky with some of our donations sometimes. Thank you.
So congratulations to Okie and the Girl Scouts of San Jacinto. So we're a program of certification. And so without our CHA certifiers, where would we be? The CHA Certifier Award goes to someone who has shown outstanding service to CHA by conducting meaningful certifications and influencing the careers of numerous equine professionals over the years. A fellow CHA conference attendee has said this about the winner. We used to volunteer in the CHA booth years ago at trade shows. We spent many hours together in our stall talking to folks about the value of a CHA membership, watching people go by and eating fair food. It was a time spent at these events that I learned about her passion for horses and teaching. And it seemed that every year she would tell me about new life adventures with her husband, different jobs, and horses. I rode in a session of hers at a CHA conference in Missouri. I tended to slouch, and she was telling me not to bend my marble box and to lift from my sternum. I didn't know what a marble box was, and she kept using this saying to help me visualize sitting up tall. Since she has a slight southern accent, and I'm from the north, I thought maybe marbles came in boxes and not in bags where I come from. Finally, I had to ask for clarification. She was saying Marlboro box, as in Marlboro cigarettes. I've ever smoked, and not in a million years would I have made that connection. I agree with that. Glad I asked. We had a good laugh over this, and every time we meet, we continue to have a good laugh over life's events. A fellow CHA certifier had this to say about the winner. She's one of the first certifiers I worked with, and we worked together many times. I have huge respect for her as a horsewoman, educator, and a colleague. Some of her CHA certification clinic participants have had this to say about her. She really knows her stuff. I appreciate her empathy for students and horses. She's knowledgeable, educational, informative, and caring, easy to understand, and fun. Well, she fits with CHA. Gotta have fun. Another member said this about the winner. I was at a dressage in Devon to spectate many years ago, and I literally bumped into her dressed in tall black boots, white breeches, shirt, and a sock tie. Back then, she was one of the trainers at Proud Meadow Friesians in Texas. Devon, PA is a long way from Texas. So I asked if she was there to compete. She said, "No, I'm here to ride in an exhibition. I'm riding one of the Friesian stallions, to Zurich, which sometimes is a jerk, astride with a top hat and tails. They were riding to a Michael Jackson song, That Girl Is Mine. It was a wonderful performance illustrating a courtship dance that used the most classical dressage movements and earned well-deserved applause from the audience." So our CHA Certifier Award goes to a member who has been a member since 1990, was recommended as an assistant certifier for CHA at her first clinic, and has conducted 29 certifications, including 27 English Western instructor and 2 seasonal. Our CHA Certifier Award goes to Sue Ott from Montgomery, Pennsylvania.
First, I want to say thank you to everybody and for all the thoughts and for everybody to be here, because we all obviously have the same passion, teaching, students, the horses, everything in general. We all have the same passion here. I have to say, and I'm going to tell on my own self here, I'm in the barn a couple weeks ago and I get a message from Christy, but I didn't realize it was Christy. And I open it up and it says, "Hey, are you going to the conference this year?" And I'm going to say what I said. So hold your ears for those who don't like profanity. I'm not sure. I have a lot of shit going on here. And I left it alone. And I thought about it because I recognized the number. I thought the number was a friend of mine from Arizona. Well, I was like far, far, far from it. And so, of course, who do I call? Susan Berger. And I said, "You are not going to know what I just did, or what I said. I think that I told Christy I had a lot of crap going on. And I wasn't sure whether I was going to come to the conference this year. She goes, "This is all." "No, you didn't." I said, "Oh, yes, I did." And then a couple of days later, Christy did call me and she said, or I called her back because she sent me another text and I said, "Yeah," I said, "I will have to think about it, but realistically, as you know how I said this, I have a lot of stuff going on." Just been a hard 3 years. I think everybody has gone through the same thing. But I would like to say that this group is so worth it for all what we do, everything we do. I so appreciate everything, all the efforts everybody gives to everything, and you all make my job, my life complete, easy. Thank you. I'm so honored. And I can pronounce more right now.
So happy for you. And our individual certified instructors are truly the lifeblood of our association. Without you, we would not exist. Each year, CHA recognizes an outstanding individual that has been nominated by their student to receive recognition for what they do best, teach people to ride. And now I want to read a few remarks about our 2021 CHA Instructor of the Year. And a mom writes, several of you mothers in the room, that she told my daughter Mackenzie over and over again that she was good enough and emphasized that it did not matter how she placed as long as she had fun. After Mackenzie's first video was loaded, we waited, and after a week later, she messaged us to let us know that Mackenzie took second place and was moving up a level in difficulty. And during that time, Mackenzie's self-esteem came up, and she wanted to try again in January. And over the last year, we've watched Mackenzie's self-esteem grow, and with each competition and with each lesson, where she works on her weaknesses but emphasizes her strengths. It has impressed me the most, no matter how difficult the lesson went, that instructor always finds a way to end things on a positive note. I have watched the way that she treats all of her students with dignity and respect, and I've talked to many of the other parents and have heard the comments where she encouraged their children as well. And she is consistently looking for the best interest in her students while pushing them to improve their skills and understands how to relate with the horses that they work with. And another testimonial is she has helped me with my horses that I recently purchased. She's given me insight to the life of a horse and how I should work with them as an owner. And as a friend and as a leader, she has taken her time in training me to respect the horse without a strong hand, and that dealing with a horse is a major step in life, and it shows that having a horse is no different than raising a family. And I know that she has had struggles since I met her, but she's kept an upbeat attitude. Sounds like Pam's speech, doesn't it? While dealing with issues that would knock others out of the saddle. She has a saying, heels down, eyes up, shoulders back, and this is truly how she trains no matter what is happening in her life. She is consistent with the horses and takes time from all her trainings, not only with the horses, but also by giving a helping hand to a family that needs help, whether it's groceries, and she gets that from coordinating with other families. She is a CHA certified member and an English Western riding instructor since 2008, and is very active with the American Horse Council Time to Ride program and the Arabian Horse Discovery Farm. The CHA 2021 Instructor of the Year is Kathy Richardson from Roy, Washington. Let's congratulate Kathy.
First thing I have to do, though, is tell my grandma she's got to quit laughing at me. I grew up in a family of school teachers, and I said, there is no way I'm going to be a teacher. So I went on to become an accountant. And then we bought our ranch down in Roy, and I had people talking to me about lessons, and that's when I got involved. I found CHA, went through their program. I can't thank Christy, Terry, the rest of the staff enough for all of the support you've given me. 5 years ago, I was in a really bad car accident. This is the first time I've been off the ranch in 5 years. First time I've had to sleep in a bed where I haven't slept folded up like a taco. So it's been a real experience to be here. I'm very honored. Can't thank my students enough. They have stuck with me through multiple body part replacements, rehab, physical therapy, trips to the doctor, trips to the physical therapist, trips to the hospital. And I can't thank my husband enough. Ray deserves as much of this as I do, because he has been there. He has taken me to every surgery, every physical therapy appointment, every doctor appointment, and I just can't thank him enough for being at my side too. And if you ask him, you'll never hear him say, I love horses. But he's been with me through thick and thin for all these years. So thank you again. I feel very honored and privileged.
Congratulations, Kathy. Distinguished Service Award is a Lifetime Achievement Award for an individual who has gone above and beyond through the years promoting and upholding the mission of the Certified Horsemen's Association, helping in the horse industry, and believing what we all stand for. This year's recipient has had this said. Over 20 years ago, I was a pack and trail clinic participant at the YMCA Tippecanoe, staffed by this person and another certifier from Montana. I was known as a stickler for the rules. Our campsite was at the top of a hill and you had to walk the horses down the hill to get water. About 4 or 5 years ago at a CHA International Conference, the winner sat down at the table where I was eating breakfast, and after catching up, he said, I have a confession to make. Do you remember the trail clinic at your place? When we watered our horses, we rode them down the hill bareback. Probably didn't have the helmets on either. I started laughing and I said, I know, so did we. A man of integrity, but a man with a sense of humor. A fellow certifier notes this story. He came to Blue Star Camps as an assistant certifier and worked with me. He knew we do English-only certifications. He bought tall boots and rust-colored breeches for the occasion. Wouldn't it be nice to have a picture of that to share with everyone? Another member says, I spent many fun-filled times with this person. He came to Tippecanoe many times offering CHA pack and trail clinics. Every one of them was very pleasant, and both I and the other camp staff, even the kitchen folks who helped with his overnight menus, enjoyed his visits. Our clinics were usually offered toward the end of our summer season. Mid-August, it served as a horse-focused finish to summer camp. Our fall programs typically didn't start for another week or two. I do remember a time when the trail group had just left main camp and was traveling through the pasture when one of the participants let a lead rope get a little too long and wrap around the back end of a big spotted appy that was being packed for the first time. Well, this is starting to sound good and getting better. As that lead gathered around that horse's butt and started tightening under his tail, trouble was brewing. Neither this winner nor I could get the rider's attention in time, and as it turned out, the tight lead rope under his tail caused the horse to sit squarely down and stay there. This kind of befuddled the rider as he was unsure what to do without causing a wreck. It all worked out fine, and there was reason for many laughs about that throughout the clinic. An attendee from a CHA conference in the past said at one of the conferences in the dim and distant past, if that would be for the old guard, I think that's what they were called. There's the old guard, the mid guard, and the new guard, just for those that weren't listening the other day. Before this winter, mustache had as much gray in it as it does now. The pack and trailing camping guys put on a little display of tall-tale storytelling skills. The skit he was involved in involved a contest to see who could spit the furthest. I should have read this a little closer. After the others in the skit did their best, the longest spit shot landed about 8 feet out from the spitter. He said he would show those greenhorns how it was done. He said he could spit well enough to make it go all the way around the world. He rocked back and forth on his heels, and while he worked his cheeks and lips as though they were working up a good-sized mouthful. Swung one arm in a backstroke circle and pretended to let her fly. Then he put up one hand, shadowing his brow like an Indian scout as he announced, going, "That far, all the way around the world, would take a few minutes, even with the velocity he could spit." Then he told a couple of campfire stories, stopped mid-sentence, turned around and faced the opposite direction from where he had aimed his shot, and said to his partner in crime, "Fred, you got that bucket ready? Here it comes." Fred held up the bucket, open end, facing away from Stan, and said, I hear it. It's about half a mile out and moving mighty fast. In a few seconds, we could all hear something ping as it hit the inside of that bucket. Fred staggered back, turned around, and tipped, splashing the contents of the bucket out in front of the audience, paper confetti. You've got to love people with such a wonderful sense of humor and creativity. This winter has also served on the CHA Board of Directors for several terms, worked with the committee developing the PAC and trail certification, and his experience was a real benefit to that committee. He has been a CHA member since 1984, and his CHA journey has included being certified in Western in 1985, then both English and Western in 86, trail certified in 87, and has been part of the CHA certifier team in English, Western instructor and trail since 1988. He has conducted over 64 certifications for us, 21 combined arena and trail, 19 English and Western instructor, 19 trail, and 5 seasonal certifications. If you've ever been to a CHA conference that had a trail encampment, this person was the one of the leads, putting up his wall tent for folks to come into, cooking over Dutch ovens, making cowboy coffee, and he knows how to do that really well. I will attest to that. And chatting with anyone who stops by. He is also currently on the home page of our website and is on the cover of our trail manual, Pack of Mules, in the Bob Marshall Wilderness. Thank you to our Distinguished Service Award winner, Stan Lowen from Meade, Kansas.
Some of that, I wish you'd called somebody else's name. I appreciate this award very much, especially here at Fort Worth. I appreciate those that were involved in it. I'm not going to mention any names because I might leave somebody out. There's a lot of people here that I visited today that I hadn't seen for a while. I was told, and one I want to give a lot of recognition to is my angel. People keep telling me I'm married to an angel. She's sitting right down there. She's allowed me to do this journey. I've been involved in this. I was a cowboy in Kansas. At about 35 years old, I went to my first clinic. They talked about dressage. I called it dressage. They talked about vaulting. I never heard that word before, but I did a lot of that. We called it getting bucked off. But it's quite a journey. CHA has been meant a lot to me. It's actually kind of changed my life, and I appreciate all those that have been involved in it. For those of you that are new, let's keep going. We've got a lot of work to do. Thank you very much.
Wow. And that goes for all the award winners. I would like now to recognize the Executive Committee and the CHA board members who will be leading CHA forward into 2022. You all know who I am. But our President-elect, Kristen Jaworski from the Fort Worth Herd. I don't know if we can say enough good things about all the things that she's been able to accomplish to get us here. Because I think she gets the last word tonight, I'm going to say this now. It's been an honor to share the podium tonight with you and to be able to work with you and to enjoy seeing the herd and learning all about Fort Worth. So all the things that we heard from our speakers, you represent it so well. We are so fortunate to have you in the position that you're in. I appreciate it a lot. Our Vice President for Regional Relations is Jen Eaton from the Interscholastic Equestrian Association from Massachusetts. Jen had that wonderful job today of making sure everybody filled out the infamous sheet that we had to fill out. I'm not doing anything with that. But when we have things like that, we have people on the board like Jen and like Ann Brzezinski from Middle Tennessee State. I guess you're still from Middle Tennessee State University. I'm glad you're still there, otherwise it'd probably fall down. But people like that really do step up for all of us and do what they need to get done. Elizabeth Duffy is our secretary, who unfortunately couldn't be here because I think as one of our award winners said something about some kind of things going on at home. I'm not going to use the adjective, but I think Elizabeth was dealing with a lot of things in her other life. And then lastly, our treasurer, or not second lastly, Terry Williams from Ohio gets to make sure that all the money is in the right place. And I will promise you, when the monthly statements come out, I know for a fact that Terry Williams goes through them line by line, and she has made me go through them line by line because I want to see if I can figure out what her questions are going to be. And then lastly, the person that's helped me a tremendous amount in my first year as president, and when I was president-elect, is Tammy Geener from Ohio. Brings so much to what we need to get done at CHA. Our returning board of directors, we have Kitty Frankie from Camp Morrow in Oregon. Fortunately, Kitty got to head back home early. Jessica Hershey from Cowboy Mountain Shooting in New Hampshire. She's also another one that had that other life get in the way. Katrina Lecklader from Spring Hill Camps in Michigan. And Katie Reynolds from the American Quarter Horse Association in Texas. And Katie is with us tonight. Thank you, Katie. And James Richter from Camp Chippewa in Kansas. As we talked about at the round table last night about being a board member, and I might have maybe overstated or oversimplified it. I've been known to do that a time or two. But these people do contribute a lot. And it's not just coming to the board meetings, but it's being involved, thinking about what we need to do, reading emails, commenting on new ideas, old ideas. I know as the president, I truly appreciate all of their efforts. I know that if I have a question or a comment or I need an opinion, that they'll all take their time to answer some of my questions, and I know some of them are probably in that category of being dumb questions, but I appreciate all that they do. So thank you to all of them, and thank you to our staff people, our CEO, Christy Lambler, and our manager of everything else, Terry, who again also answered all of my dumb questions when it's like, how do I do this? What is my password for ShareFile? So when that came up yesterday, I was like, I'm just going to sit here really quiet because I've been there a time or two, and it's like, I know how to answer the question. Call Terry. She will fix everything. So, thank you to everybody. Kristen?
Yes, I second all of that, and it's been my pleasure, Dr. Bob, to stand up here with you this evening and appreciate all these fine people. So the executive committee, the board of directors, the membership, the people that you serve, sponsors, volunteers, everybody in this room is so very important. On behalf of Visit Fort Worth, Certified Horsemanship Association and the Fort Worth Herd, we thank you all for attending this year's annual CHA Awards Banquet. It is wonderful. And next year, please, please, please join us and Ann for the CHA International Conference at Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro, near Nashville in October. I can't believe it's this late and you guys still have this much energy. It's wonderful. We are so excited about another great day tomorrow, changing lives through safe experiences with horses. We will see you at Cowtown Coliseum in the morning for another great day of horsemanship education at CHA. But tonight, you gotta go dance the night away. You're at Billy Bob's, Texas.